All right, let's call to order the October 3rd Select Board meeting. Let's start by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we get a packed agenda tonight. You want to start with approving manifests? Take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the accounts payable manifest of September 12th, 2016 and September 26th, 2016, and the payroll manifest of September 2013 and September 27th, 2016.
Second that.
All in favor? Okay. Is that the only thing we have to sign tonight, Chris?
No, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
All right, so you'll take us through this?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait, there's more.
You can do your other bullets and stuff.
Okay. You guys all set on those? You're still signing? Let's let them sign.
Grab them.
Can't believe it's $12 already. I know. Handwriting has gotten terrible. Right. Let's move on to outstanding minutes. Now, it's been a while, so we've got, we've only got one. And you received comments from everybody on this, Dawn, right?
You.
Just me?
Just you.
I didn't have anything.
For once, I've got the hold up.
I make a motion to accept the August 29th, 2016 minutes.
I will second that.
As amended, right?
As amended.
Okay. All in favor? Minutes accepted. All right, let's go on to assigned boards and committees. Budget?
Yep, I had the budget committee last week. Just went around, introduced everybody, gave us all a homework assignment on different RSAs to do with the budget committee.
Oh, okay.
The transportation committee, Susan Eden is
Yep,
gonna
yep.
be a part of that.
Yeah.
And we had some very good information from Jackie Snow on what's going on over there at with the school.
Good.
As far as Dover, Co-Brown.
Yep.
And we'll be meeting much more frequently here.
Yeah, are you starting the every other week now? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the assignments on the RSAs? Are they trying to like learn more about what RSAs
Yeah, I think
there
Tony
are?
just, wants everybody to be familiar,
That's a great idea.
yeah. And they're
Good idea.
gonna take them and break them down into, where everybody could understand.
Good idea.
So,
And is it a full board now or a full committee now?
it was, yeah, that.
Okay,
that
because they had one spot open.
Still,
Oh, they still have a spot open,
Have
yeah,
one
yeah,
open? Okay,
yeah.
all right. Any questions on budget?
Nope.
Planning?
So planning board's working on a lighting ordinance, updating it. The one that we have is pretty outdated. And then the impact fee daters, the data for the fire department and the school department came back from, the consultant.
Okay.
We're gonna be going over that, the second meeting in October.
Okay.
As the board, haven't seen the rec department yet, so I'm not sure what the status is on that.
Okay.
I don't wanna comment, because I haven't really looked at it to see what difference there
Sure.
is between where we were, but I think we're expecting the school to be, lower, because the other impact fee, review was based on a school versus modules.
Okay.
Or in addition.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The fire will probably pretty much remain the same, but,
Okay. That's it?
yep.
All right. CIP committee has met twice. There's not a lot new on the list. And, we have spent, what we're trying to do right now is come up with a new format for the CIP report. Because it can be misleading if you've got one very large ticket item and you've got it in just 1 year. The current report, as it is, doesn't show how payments might be spread over years, and it doesn't show a revenue source. So if something's coming in from a revenue fund. So what we're trying to do is work on that format so that it's a little more meaningful for people to see it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the only people who have sort of looked at it in the past is the budget committee, and then there is a version that's printed in the town report, but we want to make it a little more useful. So Chris has taken one pass at that. We'll be taking a look on it. Honestly, I think we'll have one, maybe two, but most likely just one more meeting, because there just isn't,
Any big ticket items, because we've pretty much done,
yeah, there isn't anything new on it.
it's more kind of ongoing,
Exactly.
maintenance,
Yeah, in my
equipment,
opinion, it's all the stuff
replacement.
you do anyway, like
Yeah.
shim and seal coat and,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, so. Potentially at our next meeting, we might have that, but, obviously the goal is to get it to the budget committee
right.
early in the cycle rather than later. And, Michael Keister is representing the
Yeah.
budget committee. All right, that's it for assigned boards. Town administrator.
All right, a couple things in your red folder that require action. One is the appointment of Officer Mike McNeil. He's our new one. He is on board and underway,
Okay.
riding along. His appointment paperwork for the academy has been submitted. We tried to do that at your last meeting, that didn't happen, so.
Right, so I
Started
signed.
signing it. The second thing is impact fees. Typically, each year, we use the fire department portion of impact fees to pay principal on the fire department loan. Those funds are under your control, so you need to bless the
Okay,
withdrawal of those impact fees from escrow, the fire department portion, and we will send it off to pay down that debt.
great.
I think it's $12,006 this
Yep.
year. Collection of,
Let's give these guys a chance to look at this.
yeah, and then we can come back to that if you have questions.
Yeah.
The roofing work has been,
No, I meant let's hold up.
oh, sorry,
Yeah.
okay. Just say shut up.
I don't,
Yeah.
it's hard to pay attention when you're also signing and looking. I'm not a good multitasker at this time of night.
Did the planning board look at the impact fees too? Because don't they have to,
I think they were notified of it, but the authority lies with you.
okay. Okay. So, on this, motion for the appointment of Michael McNeil, do we want to make it retroactive September 19th?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion that we appoint Michael McNeil as a full-time police officer in the town of Nottingham, effective September 19th, 2016.
Do we typically have a motion on those?
Oh, I thought we did.
Doesn't hurt.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All done.
You had said appoint, so I automatically thought motion. Sorry.
That's all right. No problem.
Do we need a motion on the impact fees?
No, your signature and a motion are
All right,
Yeah.
interchangeable, really.
I'm just gonna correct the spelling of my name and initial it.
What part of it was you?
S-O-N.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually that's there too.
It's SEN.
Yeah.
If I had $1 for every time my name was said
Oh.
or written as Davis.
Davis.
Yeah.
You know what today's date or?
For the impact fees.
Impact fees tonight's fine, yeah.
All right, Chris, what's next?
Okay, since we met last, we finished all the roofing projects, that side of this building, police department, food pantry, all that. Knocked down the old chimney that was there, went over that, built a new, cover for the staff entrance of the PD where we had all that ice damage and the ice fiasco. It's a little bigger than I expected it to be when we talked about it, but it looks great. It's gonna make for a much safer entrance in and out of there. And the library roof was done without incident, so those are all behind us now. You may have noticed the Dame School looks a lot better than it did a few weeks ago. Thanks to the folks from Lowe's and Raymond, bunch of employees. They must have had 30 people here over the course of a couple of days.
Nice.
Oh,
Replacing a couple banged up steps, painted, planted a whole bunch of things, put those stones in there, looks beautiful. Also underway here, Zach Frazier's working on his Eagle Scout project, which is a whole bunch of stations out here on this trail out back. I think he's getting close to finishing. There's a bunch of, pull-up bars and
Oh,
exercise
so
stations.
physical stations. Oh, okay, good.
They fixed a lot of the walking trail back there, replaced the, was a little kind of culvert thing there, they fixed that up nice.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a nice add-on to the whole rec scene here.
Good.
I haven't talked with him in a couple of weeks, so I don't know how close he is, but
Yeah.
he's got a time deadline around his birthday, I believe, so it'll get done. The Jabig Road paving, that's the last of our paving projects for the year. That was done a week ago, Thursday and Friday, I think. A little later than we'd hoped. That, we're kind of at the end of the line for the Pike, whenever their crew gets around to finishing this up. We weren't ready the first time they were in town with all the prep work it required, but it's done now. I think Johnny has a couple of driveways left to fine tune, but other than that, it's done. We're looking for two kind of short-term or part-time employees. One, plow drivers, seasonal, on-call, need to be CDL air brake licensed and have some plowing experience. We have enough to get started if we have to, but we'd like one more. And we also need somebody at the recycling center on a fill-in basis. We don't have enough backup staff there, so when somebody's out, we typically are running down a person. So that's a kind of on-call, helping residents, running the can crusher and the compactor kind of thing. So anybody interested in either of those two things can come to our office for an application. Let's see, we've been served on 2 lawsuits, which you've seen everything on, but we should read them into the record. One is John H. Gennady versus the town. It's a tax abatement appeal to Superior Court. The Our response to that just arrived today, and it's attached there
Okay.
too. It's pretty boilerplate.
Okay.
We're, Avatar and Upton Hatfield are defending that.
Okay, you guys, you know, maybe not tonight, but at some point you might wanna stop in and take a look at that.
Okay, yeah.
Interestingly enough, I got served at my home address for this.
And second one is Robert A. Shear versus the town of Nottingham regarding an accident with a snowplow in 2014. We knew about it when it happened. It's actually before my time, but
Yeah,
back at that time, our liability provider was PLT. We've since switched to Primex. We did that last summer. But this is on PLT's clock, so they're defending it. And they have, I've talked with their attorney. I think it's a $7,000 or so
Yeah.
question.
okay,
And just had initial contact with their attorney. He's gonna look to make some contact with the other counsel and the driver, and
okay.
we'll follow PLT's lead on that. But
And you can make sure you keep us posted on both of those.
yep.
Yep.
And lastly, fire department, fire prevention week is second week in October, and the open house at the fire department is on the 15th, which is a Saturday.
Okay,
They're gonna do car seat inspections, they're gonna cut up a truck, around 1 o'clock. The whole thing runs from 10 to 2. If anybody wants to swing by and say hello.
And what's that, the 15th? you said?
15th, 10 to 2. The only other thing in here is a request from Jean Reed to be appointed to the CIP committee, which you haven't met,
Right.
so you haven't been able to do.
right. All right, so you want us to act on that now?
It's up to you.
Okay. So, Jean has applied to, submit an application for appointment to the CIP committee. Like I said, we have 2 meetings. We have probably one more. All we're really doing now is working on the format of the report, so I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have a thought one way or the other.
Is he on the budget committee too? He's
Yeah.
on the Board of Appeals?
Michael Keister is representing the budget committee.
Did he say why he wants to?
He's been on it in the past.
Yeah.
He has been on it in the past. Just as I have an interest in the budgets and finances of the town, as reflected in current and previous service on various town boards. Assessor, budget, CIP, trustee of the trust funds.
As long as there's not, as long as he can be on multiple boards. I don't think that there's
I don't
one
think
board
there's
that
anything.
says that you can't do it on
I don't
another
think
board.
there's anything.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, sure.
I'll make a motion that we, appoint Eugene Reed on the capital improvement, program committee.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Okay, that's all I got for you.
that's it.
For now.
All right, anybody have any
I
questions
just
for
wanted,
Chris?
the first lawsuit, we have Robert Shear, and who was the first one?
John Janotti, Jannoit.
Yeah.
OTI, I'm sorry.
All right, okay.
And so this is just the detail on the plow one, right?
Yep.
Okay. And there's no, so that's a $7,000, there's no monetary associated with this one, it's just appeal, right?
It would be an abatement,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, or, you know,
Right, okay.
Was on the accident on Barberry, was that a town truck or a contractor?
Town truck.
Town.
Big truck?
they all are. No, it wasn't the pickup. Or the grader, I don't believe.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Chris? All right. Sale of town property?
You want to do that in non-public?
Okay. Board of Assessors?
We'll be here at 7:30.
Okay. Q3 budget review?
So you got the quarter ended on Friday, and you got a budget line item summary on that. I think you got a printout of it tonight. Memo from me on the top, spreadsheet in the back.
When did we get that?
You got it Friday afternoon.
I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it either, Chris.
I'll admit
There were multiple emails from
You
me
got-
on Friday, one earlier during the day, and one in the second part of the afternoon, but it was a little crazy here, so you may have only received the memo, I apologize.
It's okay.
just for
I
that, we're
don't
gonna make this,
remember what I emailed, so
Make me read every line item?
what's that?
You're gonna make me read every line item? Is that what
Yeah,
you're gonna say?
as a punishment, yeah. We're gonna make Dawn read it. All right,
So this is Q3,
Q3, we've got 4 months.
3 months left.
November, December. 3 months. Sorry.
Highlights, we're in good shape. We've got 29% of the budget left for 24% of the year.
Yeah,
That's a little tighter than we've been the last couple of years at this point, but most of our big stuff is behind us. The facility projects are all baked in there. The last of the paving is not yet, but most of that is paid for off the operating budget through its own warrant article. So we're down to mostly recurring and payroll expenses. Just quick touch on the departments. There's not much new that's come up or in terms of concern since the end of Q2, but police department payroll is going to finish right up against it, probably under, depending on if we add that additional officer when that
yep,
starts. We have one on board now to fill the vacancy, so we're back to full head count, and we're going to try and get the next one in the pipeline in service within the next probably month.
so he's still looking at someone who was one of the candidates that came through.
He's identified a candidate. I'd tell you who it was if we had got to the point where we had an offer on the table for him.
Okay.
And I'd certainly tell you offline, but,
Yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure he wasn't starting over, that.
no.
Still
We
working at that
came out of that process with 2 good candidates.
Yep.
The limiting factor is really gonna be, can we get the second one into the academy? Because the academy fills up. We're optimistic, but,
Okay.
fire and rescue, always a challenge with the fire and rescue budget because so much of their annual maintenance and testing stuff falls in the 4th quarter.
Okay.
So the chief holds back on a lot of the kind of known replacements and minor repair things until he sees what the vehicle the vehicle work that needs to be done is always the most expensive.
Okay.
All the town vehicles are inspected in September, so that's always the kind of the wild card.
Okay.
And the fire department also has hose and pump testing in October and November, so we always work through a priority list to finish off the year, pretty much spending up till the end of the year to make sure we don't go too far. And so I think we'll be okay there, but it takes a little bit more active.
Is there a lot of end of year testing because that's when it has to get done, or because that's just the cycle that we're on?
It's the cycle we're on with some things. The vehicles by law have to be done in September.
Okay.
And he's slowly trying to shift those cycles.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
But in doing that, sometimes you lose time. So you don't want to just all of a sudden go from November to
Yeah.
March.
Yep,
Because then you lose 6 months of your last test and it's
right.
throwing money away. So
right.
he's slowly trying to walk that stuff
That's all I
back.
was wondering about.
Yeah.
Yep.
And something like hose testing is actually done with multiple towns.
Oh,
So
okay.
they all come together and do it. I think it's Lee that hosts it. So that's not as controllable.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, everybody has to do it, and it's cheaper to do it all together, so,
Okay.
and easier, so.
Interesting.
Highway, I touched on, recycling and recreation are both gonna be fine. We finished most of our IT stuff, our new server is in. So most of those costs are covered, we have little stragglers here and there. Health and retirement benefits, which is obviously the biggest single item, looks like it's gonna finish just under budget, depending on when those new folks come online and on insurance and whether they have families or not, and that kind of thing. But we'll be okay there. Legal costs are gonna be higher this year than we've seen in some time, due mostly to activity around USA Springs. Utilities are going to be okay. Fuel is good. Obviously, we're coming into winter, so that's the wild card. Temperatures and plowing are the unknowns. And as we knew coming out of Q2, elections are gonna miss. We did put in a little for kind of facility-related things of moving to the school. We knew coming into the budget that we're gonna switch locations. Have not found anything we need yet,
Okay,
so that's good, but the payroll side of elections is gonna miss for sure.
okay,
So, overall, we're okay.
good.
And so that's it for the look back. Looking forward, I wrote to you a couple weeks ago about what's coming for 2017 and wanted to just check in with you now before I get to first draft development about any priorities you had or things that I didn't mention then. And from memory, those things are a new police officer.
Which we've already got in the works.
It's in the works.
Yeah.
The workers' comp is gonna cost us more, our contribution holidays, you know,
Right.
I've been warning about that for a couple of years,
Yep.
and here it is. I think those are the two biggest single dollar things, unless other things evolve here in the short term that we're working on that turn into costs. And we don't know what those are gonna be yet.
Okay.
Couple structural changes. One was moving the social service agencies into the operating budget.
Right. Yep.
We've tossed that around before,
Yeah.
and if you're comfortable with it, I'd like to do it. I think it would just save a few minutes at town meeting for something that never gets any discussion or change.
Okay with that, what do you guys think?
I'm on the fence.
Are you?
I mean, only because, and maybe it's just because, you know, kind of going based on the way it has been was always like whoever came and requested,
Yeah.
and
That's,
some come and go. I mean, most stay.
it's not just who comes and asks for it. If you don't ask for it, we don't go looking for you to give it to you.
Right.
Right.
But what we have typically done is I sit with the welfare coordinator and say, who are we using, who
Right.
matters on this list?
Yeah.
We don't change it much because the services that we're using tend to be pretty consistent.
Right.
We've had a couple drop off who just didn't ask for it. And, they don't need it, or it's not worth it for them to go through
Yeah.
the process of doing it. And those that we've added or increased, the only one that comes to mind is the Child Advocacy Center, which the chief of police had suggested. We try to do more to help because they've done so much for
Yeah.
the PD. So
Yep.
it's a little more than, it's not too process intensive, and it's not that.
How would it be
Elaborate.
captured in the general budget?
We would do it the same way. It would, there'd be line items.
So it would
for
be the
those
line
things.
items,
Line
just
items
like
for
this.
each one.
Yeah, just to be
Okay.
transparent about it.
Yeah, then I'm
And,
good
So
with
that's,
that.
that's what you were getting
Yeah.
at, is
Yeah.
making sure that
Yeah.
people had.
So it can be amended, you know,
Right.
in
Yeah.
town meeting just the same.
We're
way.
gonna put that with what?
into the general budget instead of a separate warrant article.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Because people can still adjust line items if they decide they want to or don't want to.
Other budget drivers looking forward, the next needed but not essential at this point, facility project is re-siding the north face of this building. It's got wood siding on it that's rotting and needs to either be fixed up and painted or replaced with vinyl.
Yeah.
We could get by, but it's one of those things we're gonna have to deal with, and if it fits in the pipeline this year, we'll try and tackle it. But there are no other major facility needs.
Okay.
And then non-operating budget, tax drivers, things that show up on the warrant but don't fall in the operating budget. It looks like, if you look at what the CIP is,
Yep.
where they're headed, those reserve appropriations look stable. I think we'll hear from the fire department on the Quint again, so that'll come to you
Yep.
later in the year. And then, we'll need to talk about USA Springs and what becomes of that and how we deal with it in our budget somehow. Looks like the tax base went up by about 1.5%, 1.7%, something like that. Revenue this year is down because of the one-time things we had last year.
Yeah.
But the kind of core base items that we have, those are still growing slowly, so
Okay.
that picture looks okay. We'll get into tax rate setting very quickly. I have on your agenda, I think your next meeting is kind of an intro to the rate setting process. You guys haven't been through that before. And we'll talk through what the elements of that are. When it happens very quickly, so I just want to make sure you're all
Okay, good.
comfortable and up to speed. I have most of the numbers. I can guess what the tax rate's gonna be today, but we don't talk about that until it's done, so.
Okay.
I think that's it from me to you, and then if there's any things you want me to build in as we develop it,
When are you targeting to have the first pass for us to look at?
you will see the first draft prior to your Halloween meeting.
Okay. Okay,
So less than 4 weeks from tonight.
so we have a meeting on Halloween.
We do.
Okay, so we're all coming dressed
I will be dressed.
for Halloween.
Dressed.
All right, do you guys have any initial thoughts on the budget? Either
No.
the year-to-date or the, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think as we start to go through the detail of it, we may have initial thoughts or questions, but.
You don't want us to explore curbside waste pickup or a municipal swimming pool or anything like that.
Curbside recycling pickup. I know. All right, is that it on the budget?
It's plenty for me.
Solar?
Okay, so we sent out an RFQ, request for qualifications, to find a firm to work with us to develop solar installations both here and with the school department.
Yep.
They were interested, so we just kind of teamed up on it.
Yep.
We sent out, I don't know, 20-something, it was a bunch. Posted to the industry sites we could find and wrote to the firms we could find, and we only got 2 responses. In talking with the 2 that did respond, it's not that surprising. It's kind of a middling sized project. It's too big for the residential people and
Yep.
too small for the bigger folks. And I think municipalities can be a pain in the neck for some firms, so. So we met with the 2 firms that responded. One was Barrington Power, the other was Revision Energy. Charlene sat in on that last week with the assistant superintendent and the building inspector and I. We were all in agreement that Revision was the one to go with. They've got a good track record of doing similar municipal projects. They
Okay.
seem really well prepared to handle any public education aspects of things that we need to
Yeah.
do. And they're gonna do all the work themselves. They will build it, but, finance it, build it, maintain it, all in-house.
Yeah.
And so we'd like to keep moving forward with them, come back with a full-blown dollars and cents proposal later. That will probably look like a 6 or 7 year purchase agreement by Power with an option to buy the system outright in year 6 or year 7 if we want. We don't have to make that decision until then.
Okay.
It'll provide some upfront savings, and then over 20 years or so, provide a lot. But it's, one thing we heard from both firms was that we need to move on it now if we're gonna do it, because the regulatory environment is changing next year. And we wanna be on the books. If we're gonna do it, we wanna be on the books as early in 2017 as we can be.
How are the requirements changing?
Well, a couple things can change. The tax credit arrangements look pretty stable, but the net metering rules are up for grabs at the Public Utility Commission. And net metering is how we get paid. We take whatever we produce off of our bills.
Right.
And if we only get paid 40 cents on the dollar versus what we paid for the replacement power, then the economics of the whole thing get thrown into upside down, and the financing evaporates. Or the savings, one or the other, or both.
Yeah.
That's a political process, so there's no telling what's gonna happen, but it's to our benefit to move now if we're gonna do it. Is that a fair summary of all that?
Yeah, and I would say that Revision Energy, their solar panel technology was more, the newest kind of technology
Okay.
and would last longer and
Okay.
it's easier. You don't have to replace like the whole kit and caboodle. You can replace specific panels if they
Okay.
burn out, so.
Okay.
And the fact that they do the work themselves, then you don't have an additional contractor coming in that you're having
Yeah.
to deal with,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think those were some of the things that stuck out for me, and just, I mean, both were good, both had creative ideas, but I think just, Revision Energy's got kind of more experience, more technology, and
I did a little homework on it.
all,
They did
yeah,
go.
and they said they've done like 17 houses or something like that in Nottingham,
Yeah, we
so,
got good feedback from a couple town residents that have used them.
yeah.
And they're sprayed all over the roofs in Durham, and that's gone really well for
Yeah,
So what's the next steps with them?
us. Well, with your blessing, we'll narrow it down to just them and flush out the details on system size and terms and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I'm going back and forth with our attorney on the question of how we approve it. It's a multi-year agreement, but we may be able to put language into the contract that would allow you as the Board of Selectmen to enter into it instead of dragging it through town meeting. We're still figuring that
Okay.
piece out, but it will either come back to you for a decision, or it will come to you to be placed on the warrant.
Okay. What's it gonna look like, Chris? I mean, how many panels are we talking about, and when will they get started, and when would it be completed?
We won't start until after our existing power purchase agreement lapses in next March or April.
Okay.
That was one of the things we had started down this path a year and a half or 2 years ago, and realized that since we were already in a deal
Yep.
for the generation portion of our power bills, it would be too complicated to try and layer this on top of it. So
Yeah.
those lapse in, I think, March. So we would be ready to go with approvals and everything by then at the latest. They'd install it in the spring.
Okay.
They're gonna do a more in-depth analysis of all the sites in town. They've already been here and seen this roof.
Okay.
And this is gonna be a good site.
Okay.
they've been by the school. I don't think they've done as much in terms of investigating at the
Yep,
school.
yep.
And they'll also look at the highway garage.
The fire station
Fire
was out.
station is out, the library is too small.
Why is the fire station out?
Just how it's facing the trees and,
It's mostly the trees, I think, is the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah, okay.
concern there.
Okay,
So we'll take the low-hanging fruit, the easiest sites first, and I think that's gonna end up being here.
okay,
We'll also look at doing something ground-based at the landfill, because those can be pretty lucrative. It's a little different over there, that's New Hampshire Co-op territory, and the net metering arrangements are different over there.
okay.
The engineering is more expensive to do ground-based stuff at a landfill, because you know, it's capped and
Yeah.
you can't mess with that, but longer term, that could be an option. The highway garage could be an option. From here, we will try to do as much kind of in parallel with the school as we
Mhm.
can.
Yeah.
But it's two separate approval processes, so, I think they'll probably, it'll make sense for the school too, I think, when it's all said and done.
So what do you need from us tonight?
Just a nod, to keep going,
3 nods.
okay?
Yep. All right, I need a 2-minute break, I'll be right back.
sure.
This is the budget committee. You have nothing to read at night.
Okay, sorry about that. Next topic, Chris?
Next topic on your agenda is repeal of old policies and ordinances. This is what we think is the last of the policy cleanup. You have a memo from Dawn, who tabulated all the various things that you have updated and replaced.
Right here.
And it's,
Okay,
and we're not proposing anything new, just to repeal those that are either extinct or consolidated into other things.
Okay, you want me, you guys ready? Any questions on them?
yeah, policy on building permits on private roads.
Made moot or illegal by state law, changing state law.
Okay. You good, Tyler?
Yep.
Okay.
Go, come up. Make a motion that the Nottingham Select Board repeals the following policies. Policy on building permits on private roads adopted on July 10th, 2003. Policy for being placed on Selectmen's meeting agenda approved June 30th, 2003, and amended June 25th, 2008. Policy for filing an official complaint approved June 25th, 2008. Policy on replacing lost misplaced payroll checks approved June 26, 2006. Press release policy approved October 9th, 1995. Interim policy on reimbursement for job-related education training approved March 8th, 2004. Policy for seminars and training reimbursement approved August 4th, 2008. Town of Nottingham security policy approved May 6, 1991. Policy on timesheet submittal approved January 8th, 2007.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right.
I was gonna make Tyler read them all again for a second. Give me a second.
I thought he was pausing for a while just to like, just for the drama of it, yeah.
All right. Appeal, redemption.
Redemption of tax deeded property, map 69, lot 4. This is down off of Raymond Road, down near the Raymond Town line. Back in 2012, the board entered an agreement with the property owner, Arthur Jenks, regarding back taxes that were owed. They set a schedule for him to repay the taxes and get the parcel back in his name. The agreement waived the fees and penalties associated with the law.
Yeah.
And it appears that their intention was to get him the property back. That agreement outlined a payment schedule and a dollar amount. The parcel's in our name now, it's been tax deed. The amount has been paid, the exact schedule wasn't met, so you can, per the terms of that agreement, you can retain ownership of it if you wish.
Yep.
But the amount owed was paid or worked off. In this case, he's, an electrician, has done a bunch of projects for us to work down that debt. So missed the deadline, but did meet the dollar total. Parcels of not really any value to the town. It went through the screening process that we did last year around town-owned parcels with the planning board, the conservation commission, all those things. Is there any reason we'd want to
Yep.
own it in perpetuity? There is not. It's really only accessible from his home parcel. So the question before you is, do you want to deed it back to him? I've reviewed all this stuff with town council, our agreement and deeds and whatnot. It's all clean,
Yep.
safe, and appropriate.
And he paid it all off.
Yes.
He's coming. I'm in favor of returning the property to him.
Yeah, I make a motion to return the property to Mr. Arthur
Arthur Jenks.
Jenks.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
All right, if you would, while you're doing other things, sign this.
Oh, do
We
you need
can-
me to sign? No, that's just a copy, right?
That's copy. That is the document to sign to make all that happen.
It's just me.
All of you, yeah, they're on the next page.
Just get to sign there. Looking through.
Thank you.
Cell tower?
Let's tackle that in non-public.
Then we'll move on to election prep. Right, unless you had something else.
That's it.
Okay, election prep. So, we have, presidential election, general election in November,
Right.
second Tuesday in November. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that for the general election, we are supposed to have
2.
a majority,
That was news.
quorum. Well, it's not the primaries.
Oh,
Do you understand
okay.
the distinction there?
Okay, so just for the general election?
Yes, because the way that it is described is for general elections, for the election of governor and representatives. I
Yeah,
think the wording is. So the primary isn't electing them. The general election is what's electing them. Okay, so that's the difference. So the polls will be open from 8 to 7. Typically, select members stay through the counting, or at least one. I stayed through the counting at the primary. So if we have 11 hours to cover, plus, some amount of time, and actually when they seal the ballots, one or more, select people are supposed to sign it. That's a lot of time for 3 people to try to cover, to make sure that there's 2 of us there the entire
Right.
time.
Just wanna say that I have that day off.
You have it off.
Still feel bad about I couldn't get out of going to St. Louis, so I will dedicate that entire one slot on the 8th.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
I have the entire day off as well.
Is that November 8th?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I have the entire day off as well.
All right.
But, no, so here's something else we can do though.
Okay.
We can appoint select
Representatives.
members pro tem,
Yeah,
okay? So we, I think we just have to find them and appoint them, right? So we could, stagger our hours. We could have, if people are available to come in for like a chunk of, a couple hours during the day to give people a break. So I'd like to pursue that.
yeah, I think we should, just in case like something happens,
Yeah.
to one of us.
Yeah, or, I mean, to give us a break.
Or in to give us a break,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that, we're supposed to have a quorum, we can appoint people, and for the general election, we really do have to do this as opposed to the primaries.
Okay.
So I would just encourage you to think about, if there's anyone that you know that would be interested in doing it. Okay, and then, we can talk about it as we get closer, but I think it would be great if we could get like 2 people.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
All right, that was it on that one.
okay.
Yeah, there's nothing else you think we need to talk about, right?
I don't think so, no, I think a couple of you have offered your pickup trucks for the afternoon before and the morning after.
Yep.
I think that process is gonna be okay, just work. Other than that, no, I think we'll be ready.
Good, okay.
While you were talking, the Board of Assessors Chair came in and said that they had uncovered a concern with the settlement that they were talking about,
Okay,
and they want to do some more homework on it before they move forward with it, so
okay.
So that's off the
we can yank
agenda.
that off your list. There's been a settlement offered in the
Fairpoint
Fairpoint
one, yeah.
case for anybody that's watching at home.
Okay,
And the assessors are working their way through it. We thought we'd be done with it today, but they are not, so.
all right. So that covers everything that we had to work through on the public agenda, correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to raise before we go into non-public?
Nope.
Okay. What's the letter?
D and L.
D, L?
L is a new one.
Yeah,
Okay.
L is the review of communication from legal counsel, even though legal counsel isn't present.
Okay, so we need a motion, and a vote with each person identifying
and it was
themselves.
D and L.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we move into non-public per RSA 91-A32D and L.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye, Donna Danus.
I, Charlene Anderson.
Tyler Eden.
Okay, we're gonna go into non-public. The meeting will be adjourned once we come out of non-public.